What if I told you the swelling in your legs and ankles isn't just something you have to live with after 60, but a warning sign your body has been quietly sending for years? As a surgeon, I've had countless older patients sit across from me and say the same thing. It's probably just aging. But when I look closer, I often see something very different. Early changes in circulation that, if ignored, can slowly lead to stiffness, loss of balance, and even reduced independence. Here's what concerns me most. This kind of swelling doesn't usually start as pain. It starts subtly. Tight shoes, sock marks, a heavy feeling by the evening. Easy to dismiss, easy to overlook, until one day simple things like walking, standing, or even getting out of bed don't feel the same anymore. But the truth is, in many cases, your body isn't asking for medication. It's asking for movement. And today, I'm going to show you 5 simple movements that can help your body naturally push fluid out of your legs before those small warning signs turn into something much harder to reverse. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you hit that button and turn on the bell so you never miss another health tip made just for you. If you enjoy this video, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 to let me know how I can make better content for you. 1. The heel raise pump, the most overlooked fix for swollen legs. It may surprise you, but the real reason your ankles swell by the end of the day isn't always your heart, your kidneys, or even your salt intake. It's often something much simpler. Your calves have quietly stopped doing their job. I've seen this pattern again and again in older adults across the US, especially those who spend more time sitting, watching TV, reading, or even just resting more than they used to. What happens is this. Your lower legs rely on a natural pump system driven by your calf muscles. Every time you walk or move, those muscles squeeze your veins and push fluid back up toward your heart. But when that movement slows down, fluid begins to settle in your ankles and feet. That's when you notice tight shoes, sock marks, or that soft swelling that wasn't there in the morning. Now, here's the good news. This is one of the easiest problems to start correcting today. Sit in a firm, stable chair, something you already have at home like your dining chair or favorite armchair. Place both feet flat on the floor about hip width apart. Keep your back upright, not stiff, just comfortably supported. Now slowly lift your heels off the ground while keeping your toes firmly planted. You should feel your calf muscles gently tighten. Hold that position for about 3 seconds. Don't rush it. Then slowly lower your heels back down. That's 1 repetition. Start with 10 repetitions, then gradually work your way up to 15 or even 20 as it becomes easier. The key here is not speed. It's control. Moving too quickly won't activate the pump effectively. Think of it like gently squeezing a sponge to push water out, not shaking it. This movement is especially powerful when done after long periods of sitting. For example, if you've been watching a 1-hour TV show, that's your cue, or after a car ride, a meal, or even a phone call where you've been seated for a while. These are the moments when fluid is most likely pooling in your lower legs. Now, there are a few important things to keep in mind. If you feel pain, not just mild muscle effort, but actual discomfort, pause and adjust. You can reduce the height of the lift or rest between repetitions. And if you have severe swelling, open wounds, or a known vascular condition, it's important to check with your doctor before starting. But for most people over 60, this simple movement can begin to reduce that heavy, tight feeling in the legs within days. Not because it's a trick, but because you're restoring a natural function your body depends on. And here's something most people don't realize. If this calf pump stays inactive for too long, it doesn't just cause swelling. It slowly affects your balance, your walking confidence, and even your independence. But what if I told you there's another simple movement that works deeper, almost like unlocking fluid that's been stuck for years? If you're still watching and finding these insights helpful, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're with me. Now let's move on to point number 2. 2. Ankle circles. The hidden key to unlocking stubborn fluid in your lower legs. There's a quiet moment many older adults notice but rarely talk about. When your ankle feels stiff, almost like it needs a few seconds just to wake up before you can take that first step. That stiffness is not just about your joints getting older. It's often a sign that fluid and circulation are no longer moving the way they should. In my years working with seniors, especially those living independently here in the US, I found that one of the most overlooked contributors to swollen ankles isn't just weak muscles, it's reduced joint movement. When your ankle joint stops moving through its full range, fluid doesn't circulate properly. It lingers. It settles. And over time, that's what creates that persistent swelling around your feet and ankles. This is where ankle circles become incredibly powerful. Not because they're intense, but because they restore motion where your body has quietly lost it. To do this correctly, sit comfortably in a chair where your feet can lift slightly off the ground. If needed, you can scoot forward just a bit. Lift one foot gently, keeping your leg relaxed, not stiff. Now begin to rotate your ankle slowly in a full circular motion. Imagine you're drawing a smooth circle with your toes, not a jagged or rushed shape. Go clockwise for 10 slow controlled circles, then pause and reverse direction. 10 circles counterclockwise. The key here is intention. Don't rush through it. Each circle should take about 2 to 3 seconds. You might hear or feel slight clicking or tightness at first. That's normal. What you're doing is reintroducing movement to areas that haven't been fully activated in a while. Switch to the other foot and repeat the same process. This movement is especially effective first thing in the morning before you even stand up, or at night when your ankles feel the most swollen. It helps unstick fluid that has been sitting in place, giving your body a chance to redistribute it naturally. Now here's something important to understand. If you skip this kind of gentle joint movement day after day, your ankles can gradually lose flexibility. And when that happens, even walking becomes less effective at pushing fluid out. That's when swelling becomes more stubborn, more noticeable, and harder to reverse. For those dealing with arthritis or limited mobility, you can make the circles smaller. Even a partial range of motion is better than none. What matters is consistency, not perfection. This isn't about pushing your body. It's about reminding it how to move again. And once you start restoring that movement, something interesting happens. Your legs don't just feel less swollen. They start to feel more responsive, more stable, more awake. But there's another movement that goes even deeper, not just at the joint, but into the larger muscles that control how blood returns from your legs. And that's where things really begin to change. 3, seated marching. The circulation reset most seniors never think about. If your legs start to feel heavy halfway through the day, not painful, just harder to move, almost like they're filled with sand, that's not something you should brush off as just getting older. That sensation is often your body signaling that circulation from your lower body is slowing down and fluid is beginning to settle where it shouldn't. What many older adults don't realize is this: your thighs play a much bigger role in circulation than you've been told. Most advice focuses only on the ankles or feet, but deeper veins in your legs rely on larger muscle groups, especially your thighs, to help move blood and fluid back towards your heart. When those muscles stay inactive for too long, especially during long periods of sitting, everything below them begins to feel the effects. That's where seated marching becomes one of the most effective and practical movements you can do at home. Sit upright in a sturdy chair with your feet flat on the floor. Let your hands rest gently on your thighs or the sides of the chair for support. Now, slowly lift one knee towards your chest, not as high as possible, just to a comfortable level where you feel your thigh engage. Hold it there for about 1 second, then lower it back down with control. Immediately switch to the other leg. Continue alternating legs in a slow, steady rhythm, almost like you're marching in place while seated. Start with 30 seconds, then build up to a full minute as your strength improves. The key here is not speed or force, it's consistency and control. Each lift should feel deliberate, not rushed. You should feel your thigh muscles working, but not straining. This movement is especially helpful for those who spend a lot of time sitting, whether it's watching television, using a computer, or simply resting more throughout the day. It reactivates circulation in the deeper parts of your legs, helping to move fluid upward instead of allowing it to pool in your ankles. Now here's something important to keep in mind. If you find that one leg feels weaker or harder to lift than the other, that's valuable information. It often reflects imbalances in strength or circulation, and this movement can help gradually restore that balance over time. For safety, make sure your chair is stable and placed on a non-slip surface. If you feel dizzy or off balance, pause and rest. And if you've had recent hip or knee surgery, check with your healthcare provider before starting. What's powerful about this movement is that it doesn't just reduce swelling, it helps maintain your ability to stand, walk, and move with confidence. That's something many people don't think about until it becomes difficult. When done regularly, seated marching can change how your legs feel by the end of the day. Lighter, more responsive, less swollen. But there's still one method that works almost effortlessly, using gravity itself to pull fluid out of your legs, and most people completely overlook it. If you're still watching and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're here. Now let's keep going with point number 4. For wall leg elevation. Let gravity do the work your body can't anymore. By the time evening comes, do your socks leave deep marks around your ankles or your shoes feel tighter than they did in the morning? That quiet swelling isn't random. It's the result of fluid slowly settling in your lower legs all day long, especially if you've been sitting or standing for extended periods. Here's something many seniors aren't told. Your body depends on movement to push fluid upward, but when that system slows down with age, gravity starts working against you instead of for you. The longer your legs stay below heart level, the more fluid collects in your ankles and feet. Over time, this doesn't just cause swelling, it can lead to stiffness, skin tightness, and even difficulty walking comfortably. Now imagine flipping that process in your favor. Wall leg elevation is one of the simplest yet most effective ways to reverse fluid buildup because it uses gravity to help your body drain excess fluid naturally, without strain, without effort, and without medication. To do this safely, find a clear space near a wall. Your bedroom or living room works perfectly. Sit sideways next to the wall, then gently lie down on your back as you swing your legs up so they rest vertically against the wall. Your hips should be close to the wall, but not uncomfortably tight. Adjust until you feel supported. Let your arms rest comfortably at your sides, palms facing up if that feels natural. Now simply stay in this position for 5 to 10 minutes. You don't need to force anything, just breathe normally and allow your body to relax. Within a few minutes, you may begin to feel a subtle shift, less pressure in your ankles, a lightness in your lower legs. That's fluid beginning to move away from where it has been pooling all day. For those who find it difficult to get down to the floor, you can modify this by lying on a bed and placing your legs up against the headboard or stacking pillows under your legs so they are elevated above heart level. The goal is the same. Give gravity a chance to assist your circulation. Now, a few important considerations. If you have lower back discomfort, slide slightly away from the wall or place a small pillow under your hips. If you experience tingling or numbness, bend your knees slightly to reduce tension. This movement is especially powerful at the end of the day after long periods of sitting, traveling, or even light activity. It gives your body a reset, helping reduce swelling before it becomes more pronounced overnight. What many people overlook is this. When fluid stays trapped in your lower legs day after day, it doesn't just go away on its own. It can slowly affect your skin, your mobility, and your overall comfort. But when you start using gravity strategically like this, you're not just relieving swelling, you're restoring balance to your entire lower body. And yet there's one final movement, small, almost effortless, that works deep within your lower legs, targeting the very pathways where fluid first begins to collect, and it might be the simplest one of all. 5, toe flex and point, the small movement that keeps fluid from settling. It's often the smallest movements your body depends on the most and the ones people stop doing without even realizing it. One of the first things I notice when working with older adults is how little the feet actually move during the day. Not walking, many still walk, but the subtle motions in the ankles and toes that keep circulation active even at rest. When those tiny movements disappear, fluid begins to collect in the lowest parts of the body, your feet and ankles. That's where this simple motion, flexing and pointing your toes, becomes surprisingly powerful. Sit comfortably in a chair or lie down on your bed, especially in the morning before you get up or at night before sleep. Extend your legs out in front of you in a relaxed position. Now, slowly point your toes forward as if you're trying to reach the end of the bed with them. You should feel a gentle tightening along the front of your lower legs. Hold that position for about 2 seconds. Then slowly pull your toes back towards your body, flexing your feet so your heels stay in place while your toes move upward. You'll feel a stretch along your calves and Achilles area. That's one full cycle. Repeat this motion slowly for 15 to 20 repetitions. The pace matters more than the number. Each movement should be controlled, smooth, and intentional. Avoid snapping or rushing through it. Think of it as guiding fluid through your lower legs rather than forcing it. Now here's why this works. Your lower legs are filled with small vessels that depend on regular movement to keep fluid circulating. When you're asleep or sitting still for long periods, those pathways slow down. Fluid begins to settle, especially overnight. That's why many seniors notice their feet feeling stiff or swollen first thing in the morning. This simple toe movement reactivates those pathways before you even take your first step. It's especially helpful for those who may not be able to stand for long periods or perform more demanding exercises. Even if mobility is limited, this movement keeps the system engaged. If you have arthritis or stiffness, your range of motion might feel smaller, and that's perfectly okay. Work within what feels comfortable. Over time, with consistency, that range often improves. Another benefit many people don't expect is how this movement helps reduce the risk of cramping and improves overall foot awareness, something that becomes increasingly important for balance and fall prevention as we age. But here's the deeper truth. When these small movements are ignored day after day, your body slowly loses its ability to manage fluid efficiently. Swelling becomes more frequent, more noticeable, and harder to reverse. The goal is not intensity, it's consistency. When you combine this with the other movements you've learned, you're no longer just reacting to swelling. You're preventing it from building up in the first place. Now, here's the real question most people don't ask. What happens when you put all 5 of these movements together into one simple daily routine? The turning point most seniors miss: what your legs are telling you about your future health. There's a quiet truth about aging that many people don't hear until it's too late. Your body doesn't suddenly break down. It slowly stops communicating in ways you've learned to ignore. Swollen ankles, heavy legs, that tight feeling at the end of the day, these are not random inconveniences. They are early signals. And for many adults over 60, they mark the beginning of a shift in how the body manages circulation, fluid, and movement. What you've seen today is not just a set of exercises. It's a way to restore something your body has relied on your entire life: movement-driven circulation. Because here's what happens if nothing changes. Over the next 1 to 2 years, mild swelling that comes and goes can become more consistent. You may notice your shoes fitting tighter, your legs feeling more fatigued after simple tasks, or your balance becoming just slightly less steady. By 3 to 5 years, if the underlying issue isn't addressed, the effects can go deeper. Reduced circulation can contribute to skin changes, increased stiffness, and a gradual loss of mobility. Not overnight, but slowly, quietly, in ways that are easy to overlook until they begin to limit your independence. And perhaps most concerning, this process doesn't pause while you sleep. At night, when your body is completely still, fluid can continue to settle in the lower parts of your legs. Without the small, consistent movements that help circulation during the day, your system becomes even more dependent on what you choose to do when you're awake. That's why understanding your body matters so much at this stage of life. Not reacting when something becomes painful, but recognizing the early signs and adjusting before they progress. The 5 simple movements you've learned are not about effort or intensity. They are about awareness. About giving your body the signals it needs to keep fluid moving, muscles active, and joints responsive. And more importantly, they represent a choice. A choice to stay engaged with your health. A choice to protect your ability to move freely, to walk confidently, to live independently. Because the difference between someone who stays active into their later years and someone who slowly loses that ability often comes down to small, consistent actions like these. Not perfection, not long workouts, just daily attention. Your body is still capable of adapting even now, but it responds to what you do consistently, not occasionally. So the real question isn't whether swelling can be reduced. It's whether you're willing to listen to what your body has been trying to tell you and take action before those quiet signals become permanent limitations. These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and plan to apply in your own life. Let's support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms.